Shalom and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about 5 repeating patterns in Jewish history. These patterns are based on a book and lecture by Rabbi Berel Wein, who recently passed away. May his memory be of blessing. He was an incredible rabbi and historian who studied and taught history for decades and decades. What was so incredible about him is that he taught history in a Jewish Torah perspective, but also really believed in learning history as it was and not trying to change the past to fit our preconceived notions of the present. The first one is acculturation versus assimilation. We want to be part of the culture, but we don't want to take this one step further and completely assimilate and become one of the nations. We're a small nation, and for many centuries we lived in non-Jewish societies. So in order to exist, we had to become acculturated every place we went. This started even when we were in Egypt. The Egyptian culture influenced us, and in biblical times, our pagan neighbors influenced us. But the best example of this was with the Greek culture. When the Greeks conquer Israel, we are completely mesmerized by Greek culture, art, philosophy, mathematics, and so much so that we have a group called Hellenists, which at one point are 30% of the Jews living in Israel and Egypt. And they take this one step further. Eventually, this whole group becomes completely assimilated into Greek culture, which later becomes Roman culture. But even for the rest of the Jews at the time, acculturation definitely took place. Dress, the language we spoke, we have a lot of words in the Mishnah that are Greek, like Sanhedrin and Pamalia. Even names, some names of great rabbis like Aristobulus and Alexander are Greek names, but most of the Jews were loyal to tradition and to Torah, and they did not cross that fine line between acculturation to assimilation. Now, generally speaking, the more free the culture we're living in, the more acculturation takes place, and then also more of a risk of assimilation. Antisemitism and persecution. Now, anti-Semitism is a 19th century term used to describe hatred of Jews. But unfortunately, way before this term existed, Jewish hatred existed. Now, when we had our own land in biblical times, anti-Semitism was less of an issue. But once we were exiled, we became this eternal outsider, and anti-Semitism manifested itself in many ways. The first example of this is Haman in Persia, who decides to annihilate all the Jews and to solve this Jewish problem that lives among us. The rise of Christianity and later Islam, and us rejecting Jesus and the Prophet Muhammad, causes a lot of bitterness and forms the basis of religious anti-Semitism. We have this pattern of tranquility and quiet, and even a lot of times of golden ages where Jews are thriving in a certain culture. And then we have a wave of anti-Semitism, pogroms, crusades, blood libels. We're accused of starting a plague. The Holocaust was the culmination of religious anti-Semitism together with the social Darwinism theories together. Herzl thought that a Jewish state would be the end of anti-Semitism, right? We have our own state. We're not that outsider. But unfortunately, since the founding of the State of Israel, we still have anti-Semitism, and it did not solve the problem of anti-Semitism in the world. Rabbi Wein says that we should accept anti-Semitism as something that exists in the world, like death and taxes, and to be realistic about this, and not to have some fantasies that anti-Semitism is just gone or fixed. The nation of Israel and the land of Israel have this metaphysical connection. Our weaknesses in our behavior can lead us to exile. And even when we are in exile, we pray and yearn to come back to the land. But for most of history, when we were praying, we kind of saw the return to Israel as some miraculous event, Messianic era event where we all come back to Israel. There were Jews throughout the generations who did immigrate to Israel, and there was a constant Jewish presence in the land of Israel, sometimes smaller, sometimes larger, but constant. Rabbi Berel Wein says that it is a complete misconception that the legitimacy of the state of Israel is because of the Holocaust or because of the UN resolution. Now, definitely, he says, the Holocaust did cause sympathy among the nations, but this is not the core legitimacy for the state of Israel. That legitimacy, he says, is based on the continuous Jewish settlement in the land for over 3 millennia and our loyalty throughout the entire Jewish exile to the land of Israel. He says he's amazed when the state of Israel takes leaders from the world. First place they take them is Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum, as if to say, support Israel because look what happens when we don't have a state. When instead of that place, these people can be taken to Temple Mount, to Hebron, where our patriarchs and matriarchs are buried, to the city of David. David Ben-Gurion, in front of the Peel Committee, said, our mandate on the country is the Bible. That is our mandate on this country. Messianic movements and false redeemers. So one of the core tenets of Judaism is the idea of the Messiah, who will save Israel and mankind and create a new age of peace and tranquility. So there's a pattern in Jewish history that a lot of times we are shaken by these false messiahs that create a very extreme tragedy afterwards. Probably the best well-known false messiah in Jewish history is Shabtai Tzvi, who is said to have suffered from manic depression. A lot of Jews believe that he was the Messiah. The Kabbalah explains the creation of the world and suffering, and a lot of the explanation is how redemption comes from suffering. So we have this notion where, redemption and the Messiah will come after great troubles, which is what led Shabtai Tzvi, because he came after such a devastating time, he was able to sweep a lot of the Jews after him. The last one is the Jewish utopian spirit. So because we brought the idea of Messiah into the world, the idea that the world can be a place of peace and no swords and people could get along, because that is our vision, a lot of times we fall for utopian secular ideas such as Marxism, socialism, liberalism, feminism. A lot of times we are at the forefront of these modern ideologies, hoping that they will bring the redemption. Marxism, for example, out of Lenin's 19 members of cabinet, 7 were Jewish. Rabbi Wein warns about forgetting to be Jewish first and forgetting our Jewish mission and then just merely becoming a universal reformer. He says that history shows a recurring pattern. Every time Jews substitute their Torah-centered lives with these foreign universal ideals, the experiment ultimately fails, even if it shines in the world for some time. He says that Judaism is the longest running play on Broadway. We are a cast with a unique responsibility. We should hold on to our Jewish identity while offering light and hope to the rest of the world. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. I hope to see you in my next video. Shalom!